The boy sat shivering on the cold stone steps, his small fingers wrapped tightly around the broken toy car. Every sound of the night, the barking of a stray dog, the faint hum of traffic, made him curl into himself. He had no name here, no protection, no one to call family. His father's last words echoed in his ears like a curse. "You'll stay here." Moments later, the orphanage door creaked open. A tired woman in her 50s, wearing a faded sweater, looked out. She gasped at the sight of the boy alone under the flickering streetlight. "Who are you? Where are your parents?" she asked softly, kneeling down. The boy swallowed hard. "They left." The woman's eyes filled with pity. She reached out her hand. "Come inside, child. It's not safe here." Inside, the orphanage smelled of old wood and soup. Children's drawings covered the cracked walls, and the air was heavy with both laughter and sorrow. The woman, Sister Helena, gave the boy a blanket and a small bowl of warm soup. "What's your name, dear?" she asked gently. The boy hesitated. His father had told him never to reveal it. But after a long pause, he whispered, "Daniel." Helena nodded. "Well, Daniel, you're safe here." Safe, a word Daniel had never truly understood. He ate slowly, his hollow eyes scanning the room. Other children played quietly with toys, while some sat by the window staring at the night sky. For the first time, Daniel felt invisible. But deep inside, a storm raged. He wasn't just any boy. He knew his last name carried power. Power his father feared. Power that could ruin reputations if discovered. Daniel was not abandoned by accident. He was discarded to be forgotten. Later that night, as the other children slept, Daniel lay awake, clutching his toy car. He whispered to himself, "I'll wait, someone will come for me." What he didn't know was that someone was already watching. Across the street, a shadowy figure stood hidden beneath a lamppost, scribbling notes into a small leather book. His eyes never left the orphanage window where Daniel rested. The figure spoke into a phone, his voice low and urgent. "Yes, the boy has been left at the orphanage. He doesn't know the truth yet. No one does. But when the time comes, he'll be the key." The call ended, and the figure melted into the darkness. Back inside, Daniel finally closed his eyes, unaware that his life was no longer just his own. The secret of his bloodline, the betrayal of his parents, and the watchful eyes of strangers would soon drag him into a world of lies, greed, and destiny. And this was only the beginning. The next morning, sunlight poured through the thin curtains of the orphanage. Daniel awoke to the sound of children laughing in the courtyard. For a brief second, he almost felt normal, almost forgot the coldness in his father's eyes. But as he sat up, reality returned like a knife twisting in his chest. He was alone. Sister Helena entered the room, carrying a tray of bread and milk. She placed it beside Daniel with a smile. "Eat, my boy. You need strength." Daniel nodded quietly, breaking the bread into tiny pieces. He didn't dare ask questions, but inside, one thought consumed him. Why did my father leave me here? Later that day, the children gathered in the courtyard. Some played soccer with a half-deflated ball, while others chased each other around the swings. Daniel sat apart, turning the broken toy car in his hands again and again. A boy with freckles approached him. "What's that?" "It's mine," Daniel answered sharply, hiding it. The freckled boy shrugged. "Suit yourself," and ran off. Daniel's chest tightened. He wasn't used to kindness, wasn't used to sharing. The toy car was the last piece of his old life, and he would never let it go. As the day stretched on, Daniel noticed something strange. Across the courtyard fence, the same shadowy figure from the night before stood again, pretending to read a newspaper. Every few minutes, his eyes flicked toward Daniel. Daniel's instincts screamed danger. He tugged on Sister Helena's sleeve. "There's a man. He's watching." Helena glanced toward the street, but saw only the ordinary bustle of morning life. "It's nothing, dear. Don't frighten yourself." But Daniel knew what he saw. The man wasn't just anyone. He carried himself with the stiffness of authority, like someone used to giving orders. That night, while everyone else slept, Daniel crept toward the window. Sure enough, the man was still there, leaning against a lamppost under the pale glow of the moon. He wasn't reading now. He was waiting. Daniel whispered, "Who are you?" "Why me?" The following week passed quietly, though Daniel remained haunted by the figure's presence. Sometimes the man vanished for hours, but he always returned. Daniel never told the other children. Deep down, he feared the truth, fear that his father had sent someone to ensure he never came back home. One afternoon, a wealthy couple visited the orphanage. They were elegantly dressed, their smiles rehearsed. Sister Helena introduced them as potential adoptive parents. Their eyes scanned the room until they landed on Daniel. The woman whispered to her husband, "That one. He looks different." Daniel's stomach twisted. Different? He wanted to vanish. The man crouched down, offering him a kind smile. "What's your name, son?" Daniel hesitated. He could lie, but the words slipped out before he could stop them. "Daniel." The couple exchanged a glance. The husband muttered under his breath, almost too low to hear, "So it's true." Daniel froze. What did they mean? What was true? Before he could ask, Sister Helena guided the couple away to her office. Their voices carried faintly through the corridor. Daniel caught fragments. Inheritance, powerful name, dangerous if discovered. His heart pounded. None of this made sense, but one thing was certain: his past hadn't been buried. It was chasing him even here. That night, as Daniel lay awake, the toy car slipped from his hand and hit the floor. He stared at the ceiling, whispering a vow into the darkness. "I will find out who I really am, no matter what it costs." Days passed, but Daniel's unease only grew stronger. Every time he glanced out the window, the same man appeared, sometimes leaning on a lamppost, other times pretending to talk on his phone. But his eyes never left Daniel. The boy began to wonder, was this man protecting him or hunting him? One rainy evening, Sister Helena gathered the children for dinner. The storm outside rattled the old windows, thunder echoing through the halls. The children laughed nervously, but Daniel couldn't shake the tension in his chest. He noticed Helena speaking quietly with a visitor in the corridor. It was the wealthy couple from before. Their faces were polite, but their words carried urgency. Daniel strained his ears. "He's the one," the man whispered. "We're certain now." Sister Helena frowned. "You mean Daniel? Why him?" The woman's voice dropped lower. "Because of his bloodline. If others discover who he really is, he could be taken away, or worse." Daniel's heart pounded. Bloodline? Taken away? Before he could hear more, Helena closed the office door. The conversation faded, leaving Daniel trembling with questions. That night, sleep refused to come. He stared at the ceiling until the storm passed, then slipped quietly out of bed. His small feet padded down the hallway toward the main office. He had no more. The door was locked, but through the crack beneath it, Daniel saw the glow of light. Someone was still inside. He pressed his ear to the wood. Voices again. "The inheritance is worth billions," the husband said. The wife replied, "But we must move quickly before his true family claims him. Right now, he's vulnerable." Daniel's hands shook. Inheritance? Billions? None of this made sense. He was just a boy abandoned with a broken toy car. What inheritance could they possibly mean? Suddenly, footsteps approached. Daniel darted behind a curtain just as the office door opened. The couple stepped out, their expressions grim, but they didn't see him. As they left, Daniel caught one final whisper. "If the truth comes out, the boy's life will be in danger." The words pierced him like a blade. Danger. He didn't need anyone to tell him twice. The next morning, Sister Helena noticed Daniel's pale face. "You didn't sleep, did you?" He shook his head, but said nothing. He couldn't tell her. He wasn't sure who to trust anymore. Later that day, while helping clean the playroom, Daniel noticed something strange about his toy car. The back panel was loose. With careful fingers, he pried it open and froze. Inside was a tiny folded piece of paper. His heart raced as he unfolded it. In faded ink, 3 words stared back at him. "Trust no one." Daniel's breath caught. Who put this there? His father? His mother? Whoever it was, they must have known he'd one day be abandoned and left with nothing but this toy. The message wasn't just a warning, it was a command. Shaken, Daniel shoved the paper back inside the car just as Sister Helena entered. "Daniel, dear, come along. Someone has come to see you." His chest tightened. He followed her to the visitor's room, where a tall man in a black coat sat waiting. Daniel recognized him instantly. It was the figure who had been watching him from the street. The man's sharp eyes locked onto Daniel. "We finally meet," he said in a low voice. Daniel stayed silent, clutching his toy car like a shield. The man leaned forward. "You don't know me yet, but I know everything about you. And if you want to survive what's coming, you'll have to come with me." Sister Helena frowned. "Who exactly are you?" The man reached into his coat and placed an envelope on the table. "Proof. His life is in danger. You can either help me protect him, or watch him be taken by those who see him only as a fortune to be claimed." Daniel's world spun. All his life, he had been unwanted. Now suddenly, everyone seemed to want him, but for reasons that had nothing to do with love. He whispered under his breath, almost to himself, "Why me?" The man's gaze hardened. "Because, Daniel, you're the heir to an empire." Silence filled the room after the man's revelation. Daniel's small hands tightened around the toy car, the secret note pressing against his palm. "Heir to an empire?" The words sounded like something from a fairy tale, except there was nothing magical about the fear rising in his chest. Sister Helena broke the tension first. "Empire? What are you talking about? He's just a child." The man's sharp gaze shifted to her. "He's far more than that. His family controls companies, land, and fortunes most people can't imagine. And because of that, there are people who would rather see him disappear than claim what's rightfully his." Daniel's eyes darted between them, his voice trembling. "My father, he left me here. If I'm so important, why would he do that?" The man's jaw tightened. "Because your existence threatens his power." The words landed like thunder. Daniel stumbled back, shaking his head. "No, he's my father. He wouldn't." But deep inside, he remembered the coldness in his father's voice, the way he shoved him from the car without looking back. Sister Helena stepped in front of Daniel protectively. "Who are you, really?" The man slowly removed a leather badge from his coat pocket. "My name is Victor, private investigator, hired by someone who still cares about this boy's life." "Who?" Daniel whispered. Victor hesitated, then said, "Your grandfather." Daniel froze. Grandfather? He had never heard that word spoken in his family. His father never once mentioned it. Victor continued, "Your father abandoned you, but your grandfather has been watching, too afraid to intervene directly. He's ill, but he couldn't ignore the danger circling around you. That's why he sent me." Daniel felt dizzy. His world was cracking open, piece by piece. "So, my grandfather wants me?" Victor's voice softened. "Yes, more than you realize. But others want the opposite. That couple who visited, they aren't here to adopt. They're here to make sure you never learn the truth." Helena gasped. "But they seem so polite." Victor cut her off. "Polite masked sharp knives." He leaned closer, his voice grave. "If Daniel stays here, it's only a matter of time before they come back. With money, with lies, maybe even force." Daniel's chest heaved. He looked at Helena, silently begging her to tell him this wasn't true. But the sorrow in her eyes said otherwise. She bent down to him. "Daniel, I don't know how much of this is real, but I do know one thing. You're not safe." Tears blurred Daniel's vision. He clutched his toy car, the hidden note inside burning like a secret flame. Trust no one. But could he trust Victor? Could he trust a grandfather he had never met? Victor placed a second envelope on the table. Inside were photographs. Daniel recognized his father in several of them, standing beside tall glass buildings and expensive cars. But next to him, in many pictures, was an older man with silver hair and piercing eyes. Victor tapped the photo. "This is Augusto, your grandfather, the real head of the family. Everything your father has came from him, and everything he has built should one day belong to you." Daniel's lips parted. Augusto, a name, a face, a connection he had never been given. Before anyone could speak further, a loud knock rattled the orphanage door. Helena's face drained of color. "It's midnight. Who could that be?" Victor stiffened, hand instinctively reaching inside his coat. "Stay here." The knock grew harder, followed by a cold voice echoing through the hall. "Open up. We have official business." Helena's hands trembled. "Official business?" Victor whispered urgently. "They found us." He turned to Daniel. "Listen to me, boy. You have two choices. Go with them, and you'll vanish forever. Or come with me, and I'll take you to the only person who can protect you." Daniel's heart pounded in his ears. Tears streamed down his face. He didn't want choices. He wanted a family. He wanted to be wanted. The door cracked open, and two men in dark suits forced their way inside, flashing forged documents. "We're here for the child. He comes with us now." Helena stood in front of Daniel, her voice shaking but firm. "You can't just take him." One of the men sneered. "Step aside, lady. This is bigger than you." Victor pulled Daniel close, whispering fiercely, "Decide now, Daniel. With me or with them?" Daniel's grip tightened around the toy car. His father had abandoned him. Strangers wanted to claim him. And somewhere, a grandfather he had never known was waiting. Through his tears, Daniel whispered his choice. "I'll go with him," Daniel whispered, his voice trembling but certain. Victor gripped his shoulder firmly, pulling him behind. The suited men stepped forward, anger flashing in their eyes. "That boy belongs with us." Victor's voice cut through the tension like a blade. "Not tonight." In one swift motion, he revealed his badge, the seal of legal authority gleaming under the dim light. "You have no rights here. Leave." The men hesitated, exchanging uneasy glances. Their bravado cracked. With a final glare, they turned and stormed out, the echo of their footsteps fading into the night. Daniel collapsed in his sister Helena's arms, shaking. "They were going to take me." Helena kissed his forehead. "Not while I breathe." Victor crouched down, his tone gentler now. "You made the right choice. Your grandfather is waiting, and he's not like your father. He's ready to fight for you." Daniel sniffled, wiping his tears with the back of his sleeve. "Why? Why would he care when my own father didn't?" Victor's gaze softened. "Because sometimes the ones who fail us are not the whole story. There's always someone who refuses to give up." The boy's small fingers loosened around the toy car. For the first time, the words inside it made sense. Trust no one. But maybe, just maybe, trust could be rebuilt. Within the hour, Victor escorted Daniel to a waiting car parked in the shadows outside the orphanage. The city stretched out before them, glittering and dangerous. Daniel pressed his face against the window, clutching his toy car close to his chest. "Where are we going?" he asked quietly. Victor's eyes stayed on the road. "To meet the man who should have been there from the beginning. To meet your grandfather." Daniel's heart pounded with a mixture of fear and hope. A part of him still doubted. What if this was just another betrayal? What if his grandfather was no different from his father? But deep inside, a flicker of something he hadn't felt in years began to burn. Maybe this time will be different. As the car disappeared into the night, Sister Helena stood at the orphanage window, watching. She whispered a silent prayer. "Protect him. Let him finally find where he belongs." Daniel closed his eyes, exhaustion washing over him. For the first time since that cold night on the orphanage steps, he allowed himself to dream of a life where he wasn't discarded but cherished. And though he didn't know it yet, the journey ahead would test every ounce of his courage. Because destiny had chosen him, not just as an heir, but as the boy who would one day change everything.